Hi, welcome to Xavier University's Center for Women in Business and the Xavier Leadership Center Leading the Way, Women in Business series. In this series, we're talking with women leaders about how they're leading during this time of crisis. Today's guest is Sheri Harper. Sheri is the Chief People Officer at Frisch's, and I'm getting hungry just thinking about that. Sheri, hi and welcome.
Hi there.
So I know I have not been taking care of myself by going to the Norwood Lateral Frisch's and having my favorite egg white omelet with spinach. And so I missed that. You said it's open with limited capacity, so I can't wait to go.
That's
How have
exactly.
you? Yeah, I'll be there. Hey, how are you taking care of yourself these days?
Oh gosh, great question. So I found it to be really challenging as I think many leaders and myself included feel like I'm drinking through a fire hose right now, trying to stay on top of all the moving parts and pieces. But for me personally, with the weather changing and things of that nature, I am a golfer. So I've had the opportunity to get out there and swing the club a little bit. It's a little rusty, but certainly enjoying that and enjoying the sunshine. So that's kind of my release and the way I try to rejuvenate and recharge, especially during these times.
Sounds good. I'm a golfer as well, so we'll need to get out and play. And I would say sometimes it rejuvenates me, sometimes it frustrates me, but for the most part, it rejuvenates me. What have you been stocking up on lately that aren't, golf balls and tuna fish during this time of crisis?
You know, it's been interesting. So we've been trying to manage, and so we haven't taken the traditional approach of stocking up on a lot of things. We're just taking it one day at a time and trying to stay in creating some level of normalcy for ourselves and not overreacting or underreacting to what's happening. Although I will say I've been trying to stock up on masks because I like to figure out, I like everything to match a little bit. So my husband is feeling like I'm a little crazed with buying masks right now, but do what you have to do, right?
I agree with you, and I also agree with the masking matching. So typically, like today, I would be wearing a black mask because it would match my top. I'm with you on that. So, how are you leading during this coronavirus crisis? Frisch's is a unique company for sure with food service. How are you leading during this and leading your people?
So, doing the best we can, I think is what I would say. We've been working really, really hard. Started back in late February, early March, as we started the journey of business continuity and understanding the what if scenarios and the planning to make sure that we tried as best we could to stay on top of all the shifting pieces and be as well prepared as we could. And that included significant amount of communication, whether it be through videos, whether it be through memos, but really trying to make sure that we kept our team members engaged, educated with facts, so that they really tried to calm the uncertainty, even though we knew it existed, acknowledging that. And so we've been working really hard to stay on top of the communication and bringing our teams along as we've experienced significant disruption over these last 3 months or so.
You know, I see your values, some of them behind you, family and accountability.
Yeah.
What's the most important soft skill that you've had to rely on during this interesting time?
When I think about what we've been relying on is for me personally, as the Chief People Officer, I've really been focused in making sure that we are out in front. We are communicating, we are showing empathy. We don't know what shoes our team members are walking in and what challenges they may be facing. And so acknowledging that, acknowledging the uncertainty, acknowledging that people are afraid, that people are scared, just making sure that we keep that top of mind and just frankly showing grace and making sure that we're showing grace to each other as we navigate these uncertain times together, because we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to stub our toe. But that grace has become really important as we think about our family, our community that we serve, and pulling together as a team to support each other.
You know, the soft skills are often the most important ones, but we do have to rely on our hard business acumen skills. What's the most important business acumen skill that you've really had to lean on during these times?
I have used this opportunity to really dig into the business. It started with the business continuity to understand how does our business operate and what are those key things that will impact us in our ability to continue operations. So things like supply chain, our ability to have people working in the restaurant, if attendance doesn't hold the way we need it to be able to service our guests. So it starts with that, but we've also challenged ourselves, and I've been challenging the team, that during this time, we need to think boldly. We need to think differently. How can we think about our business in a different way? And I think the Big Boy Marketplace that we launched early on in the pandemic was an example that I can't take credit for, but certainly it was our organization pivoting and thinking differently and thinking boldly. So we've taken those principles and used that, because we're never going to have a better time or have more forgiveness from our guests right now to try new and different things than here right now. So we've been really trying to push the envelope, and we've actually changed our service model. So when you do go the Norwood lateral, you're going to have a different service experience. And we're looking forward to that and how we think differently and how we think boldly.
Well, I'm looking forward to having that different service experience, but I hope they keep some of the traditional ways there as well. I've been going to that Norwood lateral fridges for 15, maybe 20 years, and I love the way they give service. It's a fabulous experience every time I go.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And we certainly, our goal was to enhance, not detract.
If I look back, and would tell myself advice 5 or 10 years ago, the Chrissy that was 5 or 10 years younger than I am now, I would give myself some very specific advice. If you look back and tell the 5 or 10 year younger Sheri Harper some advice, what advice do you give yourself?
It's very interesting. So for me personally, I am very, very critical of myself. And so this has given me a new perspective in not only showing others grace, but showing myself grace, and not realizing that I can't do everything. There's only so much I can do, and I'm going to give it my very best, but show myself some grace in that process would probably be some advice I would give myself at this point is tend to be pretty hard on myself and my greatest critic. So I think that grace application certainly works for myself and working to take that to heart as well.
I like that. I like that. I'll have to apply that as well. When we think about the business and how your business will be different post-pandemic, not only at the restaurant level, but in the corporate office level, vendors and suppliers and everything, how do you think your business will be different post-pandemic?
Great question. It's hard to really understand what that looks like. And I don't think we will fully know for quite some time. It starts with the consumer and how our guests respond and how safe they feel in terms of coming back and re-engaging us and engaging us through our drive-through, carry-out, and delivery. And what does that look like? And how does that change frankly, our business model and how we deploy our labor in our restaurants, and what does that look like? So there's a lot of unanswered questions that we don't have the answers to yet, but we are certainly working on plans to pivot and understand. So if the breakfast bar doesn't come back because of the consumer's concerns, what might that look like? How might we create new products that would be engaging, that the guests would want to partake in, that's a little bit different than what they've done in the past? You think about remote work, and what we've learned is we can work remote. And this traditional thinking of, well, we've got to come to the office and we've got to do all these things and we got to have this particular space. Well, we have an opportunity to flip that on its head and think differently about what space do we really need? How are we using that space? And do we really need to have everyone in the office? So there's a lot of unanswered questions that we certainly have been talking about internally. And what I've been sharing is, let's just keep our knees flexed. Because it's going to evolve and change over time, and we need to be open to the new possibilities and what that will look like in terms of our business as we continue to move forward. We are excited about the possibilities, and we do feel like we have a bright future, but it will look different.
You mentioned that you're excited about your bright future. What's giving you optimism and hope right now?
For us, this has been such a unique experience and a hard experience in a lot of ways, but what we've found is during these most challenging times, we found out how resilient we are. We found out what our core values really mean in terms of family and community, and how we have pulled together as a team and frankly delivered some of the best guest scores and best guest experience we have ever done through these most challenging times. And it's because of the care and compassion that our team members are showing for each other and our guests that have really given me hope for a very bright future of how do we build on this momentum? How do we capsulize this great experience and build it out as we continue to open up our dining rooms and things of that nature? So it's very encouraging what we're seeing right now.
Well, you have been a fabulous person to talk to, given us such sage advice. Is there anything else, Sheri, that you'd like to share with us today?
You know, one of the things that has stuck with me, I'm actually going to share two quotes that have really stuck with me as kind of framing my own experience. So it starts with that grace piece for myself. And I ran across this through the multitude of webinars that we've been experiencing and trying to stay on top of, but it rang true to me. And I think it's important as we think about grounding ourselves. And it's an anonymous author, but it says, start where you are. Use what you have, do what you can, and it will be enough. And for me, that was really, really powerful to show myself grace, to cut myself some slack, that I'm doing the very, very best I can during these situations. So that's one. And then so that's the personal side for me. And then from a business side, I think many of us experience this notion of, gosh, every time we think we have a plan, something changes. And understanding that. And so I ran across this quote from Dwight D. Eisenhower that says, in preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. And so what I've been sharing with our executive team is, let's not lose sight of the importance of the planning process. Yeah, our plans are going to change. Within 24 hours, something has shifted, something has changed, and we're going to have to pivot. But that planning and that discipline is what has allowed us to do the things that we're doing and has actually set us up to have this hope that we have for a bright future.
Sheri, thank you. That is so wise. And both of those quotes are important. I'm going to write them down. I keep good quotes on my desk. So thank you for that. On behalf of Xavier University, I'd like to thank you for being our guest today. And I look forward to being at the Norwood Frisch's, and I hope everyone who's watching this today goes to their closest Frisch's soon and enjoys a big boy or omelet or whatever it is you enjoy.
That would be great. We thank you for the partnership and appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.